The Midnight Tide, Curse of the Full Moon Mermaid. Legends spoke of her, a ghostly mermaid, rising from the abyss under the silver glow of the full moon. The Midnight Mermaid, they called her, a spectre of the sea that preyed on pirate ships, dragging them down into the black depths where no man ever returned. Pirates whispered her name in fear, for those who set sail under the full moon never saw the dawn. But greed is a poison stronger than fear, and so, time and again, foolish men tempted fate. One such man was Captain Vance Holloway, a ruthless pirate who feared no god nor curse. His ship, the Iron Widow, was the fastest in the Crimson Seas, and his crew had looted more gold than kings could dream of. When an old sailor warned him of the Midnight Mermaid, Vance only laughed. "A fish that eats ships. I'll gut it and fry it for supper," he scoffed, raising his tankard. But that night, as the full moon rose over the restless sea, the laughter died. The rising of the Midnight Mermaid. The ocean fell eerily still. The wind that had carried them vanished, and an unnatural silence blanketed the ship. Then, from the depths, a sound like a woman's song drifted across the water, low, mournful, and ancient. "Captain," one of the crewmen whispered, his voice trembling. "It's her." Before Vance could speak, the waters beneath them churned violently. A black mist coiled around the ship, and from the depths, she rose. The Midnight Mermaid. Her long, flowing hair was the color of the midnight sea, her skin pale as moonlight, and her eyes glowed silver with an eerie, otherworldly light. She did not shimmer like the mermaids of sailors' dreams, no, her presence was wrong, her beauty unnatural, her lips curling into a cruel smile. Her tail, dark as the abyss, glistened as she rose higher, towering over the ship. Water dripped from her long, clawed fingers. She opened her mouth, revealing razor-sharp teeth, and whispered, "You sail beneath the full moon, and now, you belong to me." The devouring of the Iron Widow. A massive wave crashed over the deck, and the sea itself came alive. Shadowy tendrils of water wrapped around the ship, pulling men overboard. The mermaid's song turned into a deafening wail, and those who heard it clutched their heads, their eyes turning white, their souls ripped from their bodies. One by one, Vance's crew was taken, dragged into the abyss, devoured by the Midnight Mermaid's wrath. Their screams echoed in the night, swallowed by the sea. Captain Vance, gasping, clung to the wheel, refusing to die like a coward. He drew his cutlass, staring into the silver eyes of the monster. "Curse you, demon," he roared. "I will not die by your hands." The Midnight Mermaid only smiled. "You already have." She raised her arms, and the ocean obeyed. A massive whirlpool formed beneath the Iron Widow, spinning violently, dragging the ship into the void. Vance's screams were the last to vanish beneath the waves. The lava witch of the Crimson Cave. Deep within the heart of the ocean, beyond the reach of mortal sailors, lay the fabled Crimson Cave, a jagged volcanic hollow where fire met the sea, glowing with an eerie red light. Few who dared to approach its shores lived to tell the tale, for it was said that a terrible creature lurked within its molten depths. A creature neither fully mermaid nor demon, but something far worse. They called her Sirith, the Lava Witch. Once, long ago, Sirith had been a mermaid of the deep, blessed with beauty and song. But when her kind was betrayed by ruthless pirates, who hunted them for their shimmering scales and enchanted tears, Sirith was cast into the fires of the undersea volcano. Yet, instead of perishing, she was reborn in flame, her scales turning molten, her hair flowing like liquid fire, and her heart blackened with an insatiable hunger. Now, she hunted the very creatures who had betrayed her kind, pirates. For centuries, the legend of Sirith spread across the seas. Pirates whispered her name in hushed tones, warning each other never to sail too close to the Crimson Cave. They told tales of ghostly lights glowing beneath the waves, of ships vanishing without a trace, and of haunting songs that lured men to their doom. But greed often outweighs caution, and many foolhardy crews still ventured too close, seeking treasure hidden within the volcanic caverns. The lava witch of the Crimson Cave. Deep within the heart of the ocean, beyond the reach of mortal sailors, lay the fabled Crimson Cave, a jagged volcanic hollow where fire met the sea, glowing with an eerie red light. Few who dared to approach its shores lived to tell the tale, for it was said that a terrible creature lurked within its molten depths. A creature neither fully mermaid nor demon, but something far worse. They called her Seraph, the lava witch. Once, long ago, Seraph had been a mermaid of the deep, blessed with beauty and song. But when her kind was betrayed by ruthless pirates, who hunted them for their shimmering scales and enchanted tears, Seraph was cast into the fires of the undersea volcano. Yet, instead of perishing, she was reborn in flame, her scales turning molten, her hair flowing like liquid fire, and her heart blackened with an insatiable hunger. Now, she hunted the very creatures who had betrayed her kind, pirates. For centuries, the legend of Seraph spread across the seas. Pirates whispered her name in hushed tones, warning each other never to sail too close to the Crimson Cave. They told tales of ghostly lights glowing beneath the waves, of ships vanishing without a trace, and of haunting songs that lured men to their doom. But greed often outweighs caution, and many foolhardy crews still ventured too close, seeking treasure hidden within the volcanic caverns. The Sea Witch's Tear. Beneath the endless waves, where sunlight faded into an eternal twilight, there lived a powerful sea witch named Callista. Her beauty was the envy of all who gazed upon her, dark sapphire scales that shimmered like crushed starlight, flowing silver hair that danced with the currents, and eyes as deep as the abyss. But Callista's beauty was not natural. It was borrowed, sustained by a single, sacred elixir, the tear of a mermaid. Long ago, Callista had made a cruel pact. Unlike mermaids, who were born with their ethereal beauty, sea witches aged like mortals, their forms withering over time. Refusing to succumb to the decay of the deep, Callista had discovered a forbidden truth. A single drop of mermaid's tear could stop time for her body, keeping her forever young. But the ocean demanded a price. Each tear had to be freshly wept, filled with the sorrow of a mermaid who had lost something precious. Only such tears held the magic strong enough to keep Callista's form untouched by time. And so, every century, as her beauty began to fade, she hunted. The price of eternal beauty. Triumphant, the sea witch raised the tear to her lips, drinking the shimmering droplet. At once, her skin glowed anew, her scales brightened, and her hair shimmered like moonlight once more. She sighed in bliss, the power coursing through her veins. But she did not keep her promise. With a cruel smile, she left Nida trapped in the cave, her sorrow feeding the sea. For another 100 years, Callista would remain the most beautiful creature beneath the waves, until the next tear was needed. And so, the legend of the sea witch's tear lived on, whispered among mermaids who swam in fear, knowing that somewhere in the deep, Callista waited, and watched. The moon sets, and the sea is silent. By dawn, the ocean was calm once more. No wreckage, no bodies, only the still, empty sea. And so the legend continued. Each full moon, she rises. She sings. She hunts. And woe to the pirate who dares to set sail beneath the midnight tide. The Midnight Mermaid and the Sunlit Egg. Beneath the deep and endless sea, where the moonlight shimmered like silver threads upon the waves, there lived a mysterious mermaid known as Lunara, the Midnight Mermaid. With dark, iridescent scales that reflected the night sky and glowing violet eyes that held the wisdom of ages, she was unlike any other mermaid of the deep. But Lunara had a secret, one she guarded more fiercely than the tides themselves. She possessed a dragon egg. A gift from the celestial sea dragons that soared between the stars and the ocean depths, the egg pulsed with ancient magic. Its shell was smooth and gleamed like polished pearl, but within, a powerful creature slumbered, waiting to be born. Yet such a rare being could not hatch in the cold, shadowed abyss of the deep sea. It needed warmth, the energy of light itself. And so, Lunara had hidden the egg in a secret place, one where the sun's rays pierced the ocean and kissed the sea floor, a place untouched by darkness. But now, when she returned, it was gone. The search for the sunlit nest. Panic surged through Lunara as she searched the ocean, weaving between coral towers and through forests of glowing kelp. Had something found the egg? Stolen it? She called upon the creatures of the sea. The jellyfish, pulsing with light, told her they had seen nothing. The wise old turtle, ancient as the waves, shook his head. Even the whispers of the currents carried no sign of the egg's fate. Then, a shadow passed overhead. Looking up, Lunara saw a flock of sky serpents gliding above the water. They were drawn to the light, to the warmth of the sun, the very energy needed to hatch her dragon. Could they have taken the egg? The sunken temple. Following the direction of the sky serpents, Lunara ventured to an ancient place, the ruins of a lost temple, half buried in golden sand. Once, it had belonged to an ancient race of sea guardians, but now only silence remained. And there, at the heart of the ruins, bathed in a pillar of golden sunlight filtering through the ocean's surface, lay the dragon egg. Lunara rushed forward, but before she could reach it, a deep, rumbling voice stopped her. The egg does not belong to you alone. From the shadows of the ruins, an enormous figure emerged, a leviathan, its eyes burning like molten gold. It had coiled itself around the temple, its scales glistening like obsidian. The sun will awaken the dragon within, the leviathan growled, its voice like distant thunder. But are you ready for what it will become? The awakening. Lunara hesitated. She had spent years protecting this egg, but she had never considered the question the Leviathan asked. This was not just a hatchling, it was a dragon of the stars, a being of untold power. The egg trembled. The sunlight grew brighter, illuminating the temple in a golden glow. Cracks formed along the shell, pulsing with celestial energy. Lunara's heart pounded. Then, with a final, resounding crack, the egg shattered. A brilliant hatchling emerged, its scales shimmering between silver and gold, its eyes like twin stars. The baby dragon stretched its wings, translucent, filled with constellations, and let out a tiny, but powerful roar that sent ripples through the sea. Lunara smiled. The Midnight Mermaid had finally found what she had been searching for. Her dragon had awakened. And together, their journey was only beginning.